This was the
Got a little
first.
soul speak on the ascension that we all share. This unveiling, this apocalypse. You know, all this discussion of what is reality, conspiracy, heresy, truth that's stranger than fiction. Doesn't get any better than this. It's not just time to bring on the apocalypse, it's time to start riding it. It's not going to hurt us. Because one thing's for sure, in our conscious mind and even in our subconscious, if that's what you want to call it, we have always survived. And the reason for that is because we never die. So when it comes to ascension, what else is there to talk about? This ascension, unveiling, is not complicated. It's just a microcosm of the state of our being from any point, from this present moment to any point in our past. And in regard to the past, now we can look back to see, to awaken without the element of linear time. Yeah. Because the wisdom still comes, because the universe is never late. That means we can take from our past the powerful wisdom of the eternal moments, seen when we unveil the hurts, the blame, given and received. You know, we've reached a point where forgiveness will cease to exist. Because perfection did not create forgiveness, but as a path to a higher perfection, a new reflection of itself, of ourselves. Yeah, it's true. It's just not necessary forgiveness, and neither is earth love. So we can stop chasing both right now and all the false securities and failed searches that go with the lofty goals of a moral world. Both the things that they put beyond our reach and the reasons they gave us for not being able to reach them. It's time to re-enter the fold of the immortal, the fold of the I Am Soul. Welcome, everybody. We got 32 people in the house. That was the first Soul Speaks ever done out of Soldier One Studios. Thank you for sharing that with me. I haven't heard it in a long time, but I figured we'd put on a little music and soul speaking in the preliminary as opposed to nothing. Welcome to the show, Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with Nancy Joe today from the lower Midwest.
The heartland.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent some time there. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you for sharing space with us today and honoring us with your presence. It was interesting. I don't get a lot of intel. I don't prepare for anything. And so your name came up and I said, Morgan, can you tell me anything? And she said, well, she had put up, I think we had done a show on Helios Gamos and Divine Conscious Union and a hint of sacred sexuality. And she said you had written something on there, how you had come out with Helios Gamos intel in 2010 and you were laughed at.
Yes.
I don't know if that's exactly what you had said to her, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I know you've been doing this a while. And if you've watched this show at all, you know, the first question is, when did you wake up? And welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here, and I appreciate Morgan asking me to be on the show. She's a very wonderful woman, and I'm grateful to some of my friends, and many times, not many times, but they've asked me, have you been on Soulology yet? Have you checked it out? And I said no. But so I started watching and felt very connected to some of the topics that were being talked about ascension and about the sacred the soul merging and all that. And so it all sounded pretty familiar of what I've gone through. And I've tried talking about it once before to people, but it's just very hard to find people that talk about this kind of stuff. So,
Especially when you wake up, right? When you wake up, everybody they wake up like, nobody's listening to me.
that's so true because you're kind of feel alone. In some, I know in 2010, I was going through a lot. I think most people, when they start to wake up, they go through quite a bit. My marriage was on the rocks. I was going through a divorce and having to make some big decisions in my life. And so the only thing I thought that I could do was to keep myself really busy, right? In order to not think about what I was going through. So I decided to get 3 jobs and go through a divorce. And my ex-husband wasn't really doing anything. He decided to put all the work on me and taking care of all the legalities of it. And so it dragged through the court about 5 years, 5 to 6 years. But once I got through all that, of course, before that, I was writing a book, and like I said, I was working 3 jobs. I was house sitting, and uh, I was working apartment stores at the school. I was modeling and acting and just writing books. And then I tried to get a YouTube going on top of that. And I thought, well, it's better to be busy than to be worrying, right? So, but I was really trying to think about all of it and try to understand why um, some of these strange things were happening to my body, and uh, why was I feeling the way I was, and because I was very emotionally going through a lot, but I was trying to detach from all that, um, and the only way I could do that was to keep myself very busy. So I wrote about it, and I put the book together because I had a lot of energy coming through my body, and I couldn't explain what it was. And and on top of that, I went to India. And where else can you learn about the soul but right? India, right? So a
Right.
Midwestern girl from Missouri, the heartland of Missouri, decides to go, oh, I'm just going to go off to India and meet this person that says he's my soulmate. And
Oh wow! No, you left the buildup out on that. So in the middle of this, which um, I hear a lot. 800 episodes. I hear a lot of. I was in this situation 2012, give or take a couple of years.
Mhm.
All these things started happening. I'm receiving this stuff. I know I'm supposed to put it out,
Mhm.
but you left out the part about the guy in India.
Yeah, there was him. Well, before that, my an ex boyfriend of mine came back into my life, but he was still married, and he wasn't. He was going to stay married because he made that very clear to me. But we had we were lovers before, and now he wanted to. He was making a connection with me, but I didn't want to become emotionally attached to him, and I
Yeah.
did. But anyway, my marriage was already on the rocks. And I just at that point had to make a decision whether or not to go through the divorce. And that was when I did.
Yeah.
And so then I met through this journey in the same year that I was filing for divorce. I met this young man from India, and he kept saying, I didn't want to have anything to do with anybody. I was totally, I need to stay away from people
That's
because,
how it works, right?
yeah.
That's the same thing I said. That's the same thing Morgan said. We don't want another relationship.
I don't want to be around anybody because I don't think I really need one right now because I need to be by myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but he insisted and persisted to talk to me and to communicate. So finally, I started talking to him, and we became good friends. And about 2 years went by of him and I talking, and then he invited me to go to India. So I said, sure. So I uh, packed up my bags, and my ex-husband thought I probably wasn't going back, and I did. I came back, but I was only there for a week, and I knew I wasn't going to stay. I just went because it was a good idea, I guess. And of course, everybody wanted to know what did I see, and uh, so I did write about it, and it was a good. I think it was good for me to get away,
Yeah.
to go on like a soul journey, try to understand. Um, like I said, I had this Kundalini awakening, is what I call it, while I was talking to him on the computer, and and then I told him I had to go to we were on the computer for hours, and finally I needed a break, so we got away, and that was when I had felt that energy, and that was
Wow.
and I laid down, and of course, and it was hard to tell anybody, well, this is what it feels like, and your body rises, and you hear this pop sound, and you're like seeing yourself flying, and I was like, I've never felt that experience before, and I was flying all the way. I was like going up into the sky, and just taking off into the stars, and then coming back, and uh
Finding yourself.
yeah, it was really weird. It,
Finding your true self.
yeah,
So
weird.
this was probably what, 2012, something like that, when you
Yeah,
went to India?
it
Yeah.
was like 2000. It was before I went on the trip to India, so it was like 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so you've been writing for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
then Morgan tells me you've been doing a lot of videos
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube. I didn't have time to research it, but that tells me a lot, because in that period, because I came out with
Mm-hmm.
videos probably in late 2014, and not many people were doing it, and there really were no lives then.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that that's, even if you're gonna film it and upload it, that's still kind of scary, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I got this, this, I don't know, understanding or alignment that it's raw. You understand what it is to be raw and real and authentic
Mm-hmm.
beyond the 3D definitions of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you were obviously receiving, after this, maybe before, but definitely after this Kundalini awakening,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically because I believe this is going to be something that's going to become more and more known. You were receiving, at a minimum, on in regard to Helioscamos. Is that right?
A minimum of what?
Helioscamos.
What's
You
that?
were receiving, yeah, you were receiving information on Helioscamos, on soul merging.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was that. I was like, what just happened to me? Right? You're curious. I became, I guess I was searching everything. Of course, I was reading everything that I could get my hands on. I was trying to understand what just happened to me, because, you know, and I was going to counseling at the time because I was talking to a counselor, and because I was going through a divorce, and, well, whatever. And I mean, and she says, well, describe what it was, and you try to describe to people, well, oh yeah, it's this beautiful energy, but it's a hypersexual energy. And I said, and you feel it all through your body, and it feels like you're one with everything, and you just feel really loved. And then I couldn't explain it in any other way because that's exactly what it feels like, a
Yeah.
body orgasm. And you're,
Yeah.
wow, what was that? So, you know, and so I read about it and I'm like, so you got to get your mind off of this whatever's going through your body, and you're like, wow, you know what, I don't have any body, so I need to start focusing on something. So I started to write a book, and I said I always wanted to write a book, so okay. So I sat down at the computer and I just started typing away about my growing up as a child, because I started I I had all kinds of people trying to help me, and an astrologer, and of course the astrologer says, well, you know, she said I was going to go through something, and I just kind of put that on a shelf somewhere. I'm like, what does she know? And then it happens. So then, um, so so I wanted to find out more, and I did. I read, and um I decided that. I wonder how many people went through this. And so I had to be very picky about who I talked to, because I did try to get on it. Because, I do modeling and acting in St. Louis. So I knew people in the radio, and they say, yeah, come on the radio and talk, well, but to they wanted to make it all about sex, and because I wrote about that in my book, but I didn't it wasn't but the way they presented it wasn't the way I wanted to present it. So I got kind of disappointed, and I felt really bad about it, and I didn't go the way I wanted to.
So I think it's important. Your story is very important, like a pre-runner or a forerunner or way show or whatever you want to call it. Because the subject of sacred sexual energy is expanding, and
Mm-hmm.
it is through divine conscious unions and not Kundalini experiences and not. I mean, it literally is that soulgasm in every cell of your body, and it's beyond human comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
So to be talking about it at such an early stage tells me a lot. And what I think about is, as I've talked to practitioners, especially over the last few weeks, they're telling me that more and more people are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know they're experiencing the things you have and the things that others have, I have in the early days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of mind blowing. One of the things that happens is we do have this soul recognition with somebody, and many times it's in instant messenger or on messenger camera or Skype camera,
Mm-hmm.
um, and like with what happened with you, either before, during, or after, you had this incredible Kundalini awakening through what is really recognizing the divinity within each other, and then, of course, activating the sacred sexual vibration, which is mind blowing to the human. And oh my God, I'm in love. Right.
Well, it creates
So,
oxycontin, this
yeah.
bonding kind of energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, in regard to that and to assisting others, because I know that's what you've been doing for all these years, um, how, I don't mean on a personal level, but how was the experience in relation to a potential relationship or not when you went to India and then coming back? What's your perception,
Mm-hmm.
in retrospect,
Mm-hmm.
on what the lessons were, what you really learned, and that type of thing? Is that too long of a question?
No.
Okay.
The gentleman that we're talking about, which is a friend of mine, and he's from India. Okay, it's a
Yeah.
different culture there. It's a different. He's a different. It's a whole nother life there, right? From Central Missouri. All right.
Oh yeah.
Um, Now I was to a Mexican before, but um, so culture wasn't a big deal to me. Okay, the difference in people, it's not a big deal, but from what I've learned in my experience, I wanted I wanted to go and visit. I had to check out this relationship because of the experience I had. So I believe that he's a twin flame. He's 20. He's almost 30 years younger than me. Okay. He's 20 some years younger than I am. And he's got a family there. He's got a mom, a dad. He's not married, but he's getting married this week to his girlfriend that he's been engaged to. But he's I had to meet him. Why am I having such why am I supposed to meet him? I don't know. So I went to go check that out. And I believe I knew him in another life.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to meet. We were supposed to, and he says that still today, that
Yeah.
I just talked to him last week, and he's, I don't think he's ever going to leave my life. I think
Well,
he's in
I
my life,
mean,
you know.
because yeah, I mean, I get that. I totally get that. I mean, it's like, I mean,
I call him
you
like
know,
my son, okay, that I
yeah,
did. All right. I have a daughter, but the relationship he was a very passionate person, but he probably felt the same thing about me because
yeah,
we had this energy, and it's kind of like, and the closer we got, it's kind of like we had to meet in order for that to stop.
yeah. Do
Because
you feel like it? Do you feel like it was some type of I'm going to meet you there. We're going to do this for each other, kind of thing?
yeah,
Yeah,
we had to go. We had to meet face to face. We had to uh, come together. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Physical.
yeah. To be
And
in the soul coordinates be in the same place at the same time.
right.
Somebody made a comment here, Athena Knight. Thank you. It's confusing. It's confused as sexual energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Shiva Shakti experience, and the Kundalini dances in and out of you. And we can, argue all day about what words need to be used, semantics, and all that. But what in your experience? And I love this because to me, you received both mainline from infinite intelligence, but also embodied it or attempted to embody it or did embody it, because we can't really gauge it or appraise it on the human only explanation or definitions. But what is it like to you to merge? What does that mean to merge with someone else, be it one person, such as who you're talking to, your friend, or other people in every day?
Yeah, I think that we merged. I guess if that's what you want to call it. It was like you feel that coming together because I felt his maleness. I felt that male energy inside me because I've never felt that before, and now here it was, and I'm like, I'm feeling the male side of me now, and I never felt that before. I mean, it was a very strong, uh, uh, what's the
So
word?
through that mirror, you found or you began to or rediscovered a higher level of your own masculine.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I felt him, and I'm like, well, so finally, and I think he probably felt the same about me. And when we met, we just didn't do a whole lot of talking, which was weird. We could talk, but we talked about this thing that we were going through, and then now that we're here together, now what do we do? And we had to work through all that because he lived in India. He was on his way to the United States. He said he was on his way, and he is now here. But we've only been together a few times. I mean, I went to see him. He came to see me here in Missouri and stayed, and then I went to go see him once. That since he's been here, and he's been here for about 5 years now. But we see each other like once a year, and that's it.
And so, in terms of your evolution. Let's just call it that. And coming out in 2010 and so on, 2012, and talking about soul merging and your experiences, because as the individual goes, so goes the collective. And I can understand where you were coming from. Hey, this is what's happening to me. I moved to tell you about it, and getting all the pushback that you did and seeing what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel that we worked through it because I think it was an endearing relationship and a relationship in which we could talk about anything. Okay. And we finally uh, figured it out to where, you know, it's not going to be a relationship where the two of us can actually be in a relationship. I think that he's very practical and I'm pretty practical. I mean, I was willing to give it a try, but I'm 50, uh, 56 now. And I'm like, well, and I think that what we both want is what's better for each other. You know, we
Yeah.
want each other to be happy. And I think,
Unconditional.
right.
Yeah.
And that means us being happy without each other, you know, living together.
Yeah.
And because it's funny, once you are with somebody, it's, you know, and you start picking their clothes up off the floor and, you know, or, you know, cleaning up after somebody or whatever, you know, it all changes.
Well, I mean, it sounds like to me that the etherical or non-physical, we'll use that term, non-physical meaning, point, whatever, doesn't have to be validated in the 3D, that you both understand the importance and significance and profoundness and reverence of it, and you move on with it.
We got to live
Some
here, so,
Now,
you know.
somebody asked me a question, or asked you a question. Michelle Weisenberger, thank you for the question. Do you think both felt the soul merge at the exact same time?
Um, I felt it, I think, more than he did. Yeah. I think that yeah, he wasn't as aware of it as I was. When I got on the computer, he kept asking the question, hello, hello, hello. And I got back to the computer and he kept asking, where was I? And I told him, you know, I couldn't talk to him about it because I was embarrassed because of what I felt and I didn't know what happened. So I couldn't
Yeah.
talk to him just that point yet because I wanted to kind of talk to him slowly about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm like,
Well, yeah.
I'm here.
And you really, I didn't get online till about 5.5 years ago. And I went through it and I saw many people go through it, and which was, hey, I met you today, Nancy Joe, and we're resonating. And oh my God, we had a past life together and we're in love. And then 3 days later, there's like, somebody's blowing somebody else out of the water saying, hey, she's not cool. He's not cool. But we all fell in love hundreds of times.
Yeah.
But it was the divinity that we were
Mm-hmm.
recognizing each other. Now you do, I want to say 160 videos. Is that what you told me?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Okay. So you've done a shift load. We'll say that a
Yes.
shift load of videos on YouTube, and I guess otherwise maybe some on Facebook. What is the content of your videos? How would you describe that?
It's mainly on awakenings and astrology and soulmates and some health and things like that. Mainly my experience, based upon my experience, and I'm learning astrology and I'm studying astrology. I'm going to get certified in that. I've done a few charts for people, but people ask me all the time to read for them, and I found out what is a indigo and what is a crystal child and what kind of planets are in their chart and where to look for those.
Yeah.
And I found that I had an astrologer do for me. She said I was a crystal, so I was curious about that. So I wanted to find out about where my planets were and finding where your Pluto, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune and those planets in your chart, whether there being conjunctions means that can make you either an indigo or a crystal. I mean, there are a lot of children coming here with a mission, and generally that's because their planets are lined up in that way. And
Yeah.
you can see it in their chart.
Now let me ask you, how long and how much of the information you're receiving,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be shy, because it's all coming out now for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
has been direct with infinite intelligence with source?
Well, right at that time when that energy hit me, it was like write a book, right? Just write, just go ahead and start writing. And I really don't claim to have a talent or anything, you know what I mean? But I do work with the disabled children and stuff like that. But um, I enjoy writing the book, and right now I'm rewriting it, so I got more information, more details, and taking out some names and things in it. And
Have you putting it out? Have you put the book out yet?
no, I'm going to.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got one book out, but I'm rewriting it so that it can be a little better than what it is right now.
So let me ask you a question. What's it like to work with challenged children, disabled children? What have you learned from that?
Oh, they teach you patience. They teach you. I know one little girl I'm working with right now. She has a Down syndrome, but I love her because she shows me how to just relax, just don't rush.
Do they show you how to laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
So
take things so seriously.
right, and
Yeah.
and have another little girl in a wheelchair, and she teaches me just how lucky I am, but she's just as darling as can be, and just always smiles and hugs all the time. So my job I have a good job. I'm blessed, and these kiddos I work with teach me every day how wonderful my life is.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So let me ask you this. Over the last, what, 6, 7 weeks, some people go back to the solstice. Some people go back to 11/11, November 11th. Have you seen a shift? I mean, have you seen something going on, like a corner's been turned? Have you seen a different dimension, a different timeline? I mean, or plural, singular, plural.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my life has changed dramatically since 2010. I live a totally different life compared to what I used to have. Um, right now, I am engaged to get married to John.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Now, who's the guy?
John, John Miller.
John Miller, everybody. John Miller, look him up on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
It's taken some hard work. I mean, I wasn't. I'd never wanted to be in another relationship. I thought probably I was going to be one of those people that probably wouldn't get married. But I said to God, I'm like, well, it's going to have to be Jesus. The guy is going to
We're
have to
all
be
Jesus.
Jesus.
um, so is does he? I mean, is he a member of groups? I hate to use that term, but I mean, does he float around in the same light worker circles on
Oh,
Facebook as you do and
yeah,
such?
yeah.
Okay.
He's with me.
And okay. Now, is he in the same geographical location?
Yeah, he lives with me right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty close. We don't need to know any more of that. Too much information.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, what does the term divine conscious union mean to you?
Divine conscious union. It means that you're coming to know your higher self.
Yeah.
I believe. I believe that I think you're coming to understand that you don't have to know the answer to everything. I think that you're going to get guidance when you ask for it.
Yeah.
You got to listen for it. You got to be patient for it. And, it's not always going to be the answer you want sometimes, but it's going to be the best answer. And for what you're working with in this life right now. And I think that we have to be open to understand that, you know, uh, start being grateful. I think that that's how I fall
Yeah.
asleep at night. I start saying things that I'm grateful for, and then eventually I just start falling asleep. But
Yeah.
I just I'm grateful is my mantra. Yeah.
So when you think of the words divine conscious union or the words, the energy, do you think of that within yourself or within you and your partner?
I think it's within myself.
Okay. Now, is it um, externalizing? Are you seeing evidence of what's internal right before your eyes with him?
I think that yes, you can manifest. Yes. Uh, I think you manifest into the physical what it is that you are wanting to create. I think that's one of the things that you learn is alchemy, I guess in some way you might want to call. But you learn to manifest, even if it is another relationship, or
Yeah.
it could be even a job. It could be uh, whatever it is. I think that if you are focused on that, I think that yes, that you can create it. Yeah, I think that we become creators in our own life. Yeah.
I know you understand what it means to, well, we used to call it shadow work or inner work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and dealing with what comes up before you.
Mm-hmm.
What's it been like to have that external mirror that you created with your beloved?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a fast track that you can or can't do without yourself? Uh, yourself?
I think that if I go back to 2010, I didn't know what I was doing, right? Back in 2010, I was more focusing on other people, on
Yeah.
what, and not focusing inside what Nancy needs to work on. And once
Yeah.
I started turning that focus in and say, you're saying shadow work. Well, I think that once I started focusing on uh, why do I feel that way? Or why am I angry at that person? Why don't I just find something that I like about them? You know, instead of, like, and then I started to find something good about that person, and then I was able to let it go. And then, so my work has been, what am I seeing in that person? Because whatever it is I'm seeing in them, I'm seeing in myself, right? So that's the work I started to address in my life. And and I had to do a lot of, I had to get lawyers. I had to sue my ex-husband. I had something going on at work. I had to get a lawyer for that. Um, I was I was going I was having to be a tough gal when I never had to be a tough gal. Okay? I had to be I had to get mean. I had to be kind of a warrior woman in a way, and I didn't like doing it, but I felt like I needed to do that in order to get people to not um in order to say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to put my foot down and
So
say,
was it? So
yeah,
was it to get people to do it or you?
no, I had to get a lawyer, and
No, I mean, as far as the energy of it, you put your foot down.
yeah,
It was
I,
for you. Yeah.
I did it for me because there was nobody else that was going to do it for me. So, you know, then after that, people started to leave you alone, and they're like, and then people started to be nice, and people were just different towards me, because I think it was because I started to stand up for the Nancy that needed somebody to stand up for, and you can't expect other people to do it for you. So it became my job in order to take care of her. So once I did, I had to go outside, look at myself from outside, and look at Nancy, and I had to go get advice from people. Well, look at the situation; it's awful. What is your advice on what I need to do? And I get professional advice, and they're like, yeah, you need to take care of this, or else it's gonna blow up in your face. So yeah, you know,
Mhm.
and so yeah, I got 5 different lawyers now. So, so
So,
whenever,
but in the important world, in the energetic world, the ethereal,
yeah,
right?
energetic.
Uh,
Well, that,
so you've created this relationship
hmm
in your life.
hmm
How has it expanded you?
you mean my relationship with John?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he's been wonderful, because he's been the only person that I've been able to talk to about this kind of stuff. And I needed a relationship in which I had somebody that I could communicate, because communication is very important to me in a relationship. And if I didn't have that, oh my gosh, we get along, we can talk about anything, we can, we don't fight. If we do fight, it's not very long. It's over with, and uh, you know, we get over it really fast, and it's not even very long. But I love it because we don't have a problem going out to with other friends. We have the same friends, and we have his son we get along with, and he gets along with my daughter. So, in my family, my mother and my father. So, it's been something that's very practical as well, and we enjoy the whole relationship. So
Yeah.
I like it.
A- And I'm just curious because it's I don't want to say a new vibration, but an old vibration reintroducing itself into this realm, which
Hmm.
seems so important
Hmm.
because it is externalized. It's beyond the internal, where we all have to marry that feminine and masculine.
Hmm.
Do you guys do sessions together, meditate, take time together to connect as you do as individuals to the infinite intelligence?
Yes, we do meditate. We like this. We get comfortable on a couch. We meditate together, and we're trying to do that where we listen to the sounds. We got the headphones, and he actually got the headphones, and we sit and we listen to these the heart. Or is it 528 hertz? Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that one? Then we listen to that and we meditate, and the sound gets really loud, and it just kind of like before you leave your body kind of thing, about outer body experience. And he's had that experience as well. So and I know I've had it. um so we're trying to do that again. We haven't been doing as much as we should be, but we're starting to get back into it again.
Well, I'm saying all this for the people that are waking up and the new energies that are, well, the old energies that are being reintroduced.
Hmm.
So, and thank you for, you know, accommodating me. Uh, have you guys had energetic merging? I mean, whether you were with each other in the same place or not physically, have you had the energetic union that so many people are starting to realize?
I understand what you're talking about. We've had, I can feel John. I feel him inside me. I know exactly what he's feeling. Yes. I know his mood, and I feel his chemistry. Yeah. Um, yeah, I know his maleness, I guess you might say. I feel that
Yeah.
energy. Yes. go through me. Yes. Yep.
Do you ever have anything come in, like when an energy hits you and you're like, is this me or him? Yeah.
I think that he gives me I think he's very flamboyant, very loving. I love his energy. John is very gregarious, I guess you want to say. Is he talks to anybody. He loves
Sounds like me. Sounds like me and Morgan. She doesn't want to talk to anybody, but I'll talk to anybody.
everybody. Is John loves everybody
Would,
and loves everybody. So
would you guys consider? No answer right now, but I mean, would you consider, yeah, coming on together and doing a show and talking about the intricacies of what you've had to navigate? Because it's not the same. I know that, and I know you know what I'm talking about. It's not the same.
mhm,
It's a different place. It's about surrendering. It's one thing to surrender
mhm,
and follow the guidance when it's just you and the universe, but when there's someone else involved, it brings on both the challenge and the complexities, but
mhm.
also the rewards of that holy triad.
Yeah, sure. I'll
So if
talk about it.
you talk to him and see maybe we can do that, because I think that energy needs to be seen out there. That's part of the Soulgy platform.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I'd
you
love to do that. Be honored to do that.
okay? That'd be great. I think I'll talk to him about it. And everybody loves John. Nobody's good. He just smiles, and it's just wonderful. So uh, I I'm very blessed. I met him, and I guess he approached me, and then after that, I sent him a smile and a wink, and after that, I he kept talking, 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 and
That was it. It was the
oh
wink.
boy.
It was the wink. Yeah. Well, I've really enjoyed this. Talk to him and see what he has to say.
Hmm.
And no rush, no worries, no pressure.
Okay.
Just if it resonates, let's do it. I think that energy. I know that energy
Yeah.
needs to be seen. Uh, it does. It can't be mm, explained or equated in the human experience only, the only human experience. It's got to take all of our aspects to understand it, but it's pure love.
Right.
And it also has that mix of the humans having to transition together, as opposed to just one human by themselves doing it. So we'd love to have you do that. And the best to you and him. And thank you
Thank
for sharing space with us today and honoring us with your presence
you.
and getting personal with us, because I think there's a lot of activations and soul code exchange with that. And
Yes.
thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow with 3 or 4 shows. Thank you, Nancy Joe Hook. And thank you to your partner. Hope to see you soon.